All right, so we have the Jeff Hogan situation, Jeff Hogan zoning board situation again. I made a video about this a few weeks back. I'm going to tweak my position a little bit. Notice Stephen Brady was the one who made the motion. He was for sure going to put Hogan back on the board, in my opinion. I think he votes yes when the roll call comes. There was an awkward pause before Commissioner McCarthy seconded the motion, which I want to give her credit for, but then again, I don't know if she was just knowingly queuing up Commissioner Petrie's comment. Maybe, maybe not. Neither here nor there, really. I mean, it's worth pointing out just because I don't think she votes for Hogan. So she's allowing for some discussion to take place. Motivation is why. Regardless, Commissioner Petrie lays out the conflict of interest argument, and I do get it. It even crossed my mind when I did the first video. However, she does read this list of reasons to take into consideration, and it's more about protecting the integrity of the local newspaper than it is the zoning board or the city commission or anything else. Nevertheless, I do get it. I do think there is reason to be concerned about how that may look. And then again, she talks about how great he's been and how she loves him. And if he was uncomfortable with it, or the newspaper was uncomfortable with it, I'm sure he would have resigned or never even joined. He probably ran it past his publisher or editor or whoever before he even joined. So I would assume he has the county press's blessing. Just another one that's not clear cut, but let's go back and see how it plays out.
All right. That brings us to J1B1, Commission Appointment, Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a motion tonight? Mr. Brady.
I make a motion to reappoint to the Zoning Board of Appeals Jeff Hogan, term expiring April 1st, 2029.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Brady, support by Commissioner McCarthy to reappoint Mr. Hogan to the Zoning Board of Appeals, term expiring April 1st, 2029. Discussion. Ms. Petrie.
Well, I love Jeff Hogan, and I think he is great at what he does. I've had an issue or question about our local newspaper serving in this capacity before I was ever a commissioner, and I would attend the meetings. That was my question. How is it not a conflict of interest? And so I did some research, and I'm just going to read this so that people can understand where I'm coming from, because it's nothing critical against Jeff at all. I think he does a great job. Whether it is ethical for a local newspaper editor to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals, ZBA, is a complex issue, primarily centered on conflicts of interest and the separation of journalistic duty from local government participation. While not strictly illegal in many jurisdictions, it's generally considered ethically questionable by professional journalism standards due to the potential to compromise the newspaper's independence. The ethical arguments against it are conflict of interest, objectivity compromised, public perception, incompatible roles, small town dynamics, many things. I currently serve with Jeff on that board. I think he does a great job, but in the issue of transparency and trying to make things correct so that the optics are good, that everybody thinks everybody's being honest and everything is done correctly, I think it would be better to have a resident that isn't the editor of our only local paper be on that board. That's just my opinion. Personally, I love Jeff. I think he's great. I just think we have many new zoning things that are coming to the House possibly that could affect our community. I don't want Jeff to be in a situation where he is compromised. So that's just my thought.
Any other?
Commissioner Gluskin.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Do we have anything in an ordinance that would preclude Mr. Hogan from being on the zoning board? Is there any kind of umbrella statement that says something about conflict of interest and what those positions or professions would be? Okay.
That's a good question, and I will caution the commissioners tonight that maybe, at the very least, if you're not going to approve it, if you're not going to deny it, then you should at least postpone the decision till you get the rest of the applicants that I hear are on file for this particular board. And also, I had just found that there is a clause inside of the ordinance, Chapter 210, on the Planning Commission that doesn't allow for planning commissioners to be on other boards and commissions. I just discovered that I was reading for Mr. Brady tonight. Yet, I happen to know there's a member on multiple boards. And the only board they're allowed to be on is the zoning board, if they want to stay on planning. So, I would say because that board that you're discussing tonight, that appointment you're discussing tonight, is already in a clause in another board, and there's limitations or exclusions provided there, I would do some due diligence.
Okay.
Ms. McCarthy?
I just want to second caution, whatever happens. My husband's firm was the city attorney here for years. And what he cautioned me this weekend, as he made me breakfast, was volunteerism is a tough gig. We don't have very many of them. I mean, a lot of people are concerned, but not concerned enough to lay it down and join a board or a commission. So it's hard to get those volunteers, and that's why you have duplication across the boards, because those people are willing to put the time in. And so sometimes, unfortunately, we have to backfill with who's willing to sit on the board, simply to fill it, to make sure we have a quorum to make the votes happen. I would urge everybody that this is a community-wide problem, and that we need more people to volunteer to sit on the board so that we have more voices being heard, a broader band of perspective on the boards across the community.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other discussion before vote? All right. Let's take a roll call.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Glissman?
I want to know what we're voting for. 'cause-
Reappointment as zoning board of appeals, Mr. Hogan, term expires April 1st, 2029.
Okay, I thought we wanted to postpone this.
You guys already have an action. You already have a motion on the table to reappoint, put forward by Mr. Brady and supported by Ms. McCarthy.
No.
No?
Yes. Yes, no.
Ms. McCarthy?
No.
Commissioner Petrie?
No.
Motion fails.
All right, so I want to point a couple of things out here. Number one, Commissioner McCarthy ultimately, yes, she voted against Jeff Hogan's reappointment, even though she seconded Stephen Brady's motion. And that's fine. They do that sometimes. Just me paying attention to the little things. Commissioner Glissman asked a question about conflict of interest and whether or not there was anything that was like solidly documented and in place regarding that. And it would seem that Commissioner Petrie was shaking her head that no, there wasn't an actual like policy in place. And then it goes down 3-1, right? So no Jeff Hogan, it would appear. I guess that could always change once the mayor reviews the other applicants, but doesn't seem like it's going to change. And maybe that is for the best for all parties involved. Now, I'm pointing out some of the dynamics with the different um, women up there, the commissioners, because of a public comment that follows, which I'm going to include in this particular video, as well as likely Commissioner Petrie's closing comments, or at least part of them, because I want to make something perfectly clear afterwards.
Hi, Peggy Brodsky, Lapeer Township. I would like to comment on some things I have been hearing about Commissioners McCarthy, Petrie, and Glissman. I have heard things spoken publicly and have read comments on social media. I would like to speak to the message that some are desperately trying to convey. It has been implied that these three female commissioners are willing to do whatever the mayor wants and that they do not have the capacity to disagree with him. Not only is this insulting to these three women, but it should insult all women. I know better as to the character of Commissioners McCarthy, Petrie, and Glissman. I know them to be strong and determined. I know them to stand by their convictions and to stand up to injustice. I know them to be dedicated to the city of Lapeer. Each of them goes above and beyond the expected duties of a city commissioner. I believe they are diligent on every issue that is brought before them. I have heard repeatedly that these three commissioners welcome public input. They state that they take their position seriously. I believe their goal is to serve the city of Lapeer and not the mayor directly. I believe they have great respect for the mayor. I believe they have trust in the mayor. I believe they share common standards and values with the mayor. So it would not be surprising if they would agree with the mayor on many issues. However, I have no doubt that each one of them is competent to stand on their own ground and make their own decisions. I also believe that Mayor Hing has mutual respect for these commissioners and would not want it any other way. Thank you.
All right, so regarding that public comment, I have talked at length about how Mayor Hing, Commissioners Glissman, Petrie, and McCarthy, who all happen to be women, are ever on the same page. Now we're 4 months in, and frankly, during the Jeff Hogan reappointment, that was about the most back and forth debate, and it wasn't even that I've seen take place amongst those women. However, I want to make it perfectly clear that, and this public commenter didn't mention hashtag. However, I want to proactively say that I am not desperately trying to convey anything. I have never implied anything. And furthermore, I've never suggested that they don't have the capacity to make up their own minds. I have said they are essentially a voting bloc in lockstep with the mayor, and I stand by that. It's not because they're women. I have great respect for all of God's creatures, male or female, human or not. I'm just keeping score, as I've said again and again. Their motives are their motives. And you can speculate from time to time. For example, Commissioner Petrie, she mentioned that she used to show up and make public comment and have issue with Jeff Hogan being on boards, if I understood her correctly. However, I will say that her timing as a commissioner, she only addressed this now. She only addressed this a month or so after Mayor Hing used his closing comments to go at the media. And because they're so close, politically, and in physical proximation for these meetings, there could be reason to speculate and make connections and wonder if that has anything to do with it. And I think that's not crazy of me. I don't think I'm the only one. With that said, yes, I believe they're all strong women capable of making up their own mind. In fact, I am longing for the day when I see them in a meaningful vote, disagree, go back and forth, have some debate, especially with the mayor himself, let alone each other. I would love to see that. To me, that would be like, hey, maybe we have some spirited democracy up there, as opposed to looking at a commission that seems to be two completely different teams, maybe even three, maybe even four. But they're not, in my opinion, what we need them to be. They're 4 months in. That's a quarter. That's a semester. And I said in a live stream, my grade for them is a C to a C minus thus far, although it's steadily been improving. That's the good thing about a low grade. Easier to bring it up, right? So we'll see next semester how they do. But yeah, it's they got a long ways to go, and it has nothing to do with gender or voting blocks, which is politics. I mean, I could cite the Michigan kratom ban, which just took place in the last day or two, and we were looking at Republicans calling out Democrats for not getting on board, and then you have Democrats saying it's not that we're not on board with banning kratom per se, it's that this bill left a lot to be desired. You hear that all the time, both sides. It's politics. But shame on anybody in the community who is taking shots at them as if women can't think for themselves. If that's happening, because she said she's heard it in public, in person, or something to that effect, I don't agree with that. I don't stand by that. That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing, I'm sharing.
Thank you for sticking up for the three women. That it's just kind of gross that anyone would ever say it, because we all could be his mother. And so thank you for, Peggy, acknowledging that we are three strong women that would have our own opinion. Ask my husband. I do. So as much as I do appreciate all of your hard work, I'm acknowledging how much work and reading and processing this man is doing behind the scenes, which I don't think he sleeps, and I don't think he eats. And he is not doing it for his own glory. He's doing it because he is a man of excellence, and he likes things done to the letter. And that is a hard standard for us to achieve, but I think we can do it because I think we're a really great city. I'm grateful to anybody who checked the box for my name. I think that when they voted for me, they trusted me to put all the effort that I can into this job, and I'm telling you, I do. It takes a lot more than just attending these meetings. I take it very seriously because I love this community. I love the people in this community. I serve a greater purpose than just this city, and the one that I serve asks me to try and achieve his standards, which I never will be able to, but I try every single day. I'm appreciative of all of our staff, all the people that put anything into what we're doing here in this city, all the businesses. I love this community. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting up here doing this. As far as my relationship with the other commissioners, relationships go two ways. And when one side is cut off, it no longer is a relationship. And I am open to criticism. I'm open to dialogue. That's what was trying to happen at the last meeting. I don't recall grabbing you because was way behind you. I did touch your shoulder because it was loud in the chamber, and so I wanted to make sure he knew I was speaking to him, and that's okay. I'm old, I have a thick skin, and he doesn't have to talk to me if he doesn't want to, but I was raised in a family of 6 kids. Communication is important when you have a 8-person family, and I was also raised with a bunch of athletes. So we always had to work as a team, or things didn't work. And so I want to work as a team. There's nobody up here that I don't want to work with. It's not who I am. So anytime any of the commissioners want to talk, they have my number, they know where I live. I always answer my phone, and I always answer my door, unfortunately. But you get what you deserve if you come without calling, so.
Thank you.
All right, so Commissioner McCarthy's comments there, I cut off the first part 'cause she's just basically echoing, or Commissioner Petrie's comments, I cut off the first part of because she's echoing Commissioner McCarthy basically, but you can see she had plenty to say. I mean, again, it is gross if anybody thinks that women somehow aren't qualified to be city commissioners and they don't think for themselves. I don't think that's it, but you do see the praise. And I've picked up on some trends in closing comments. First off, they're kind of gross because they're super political. No surprise, right? But like I've just noticed, and this is across the board, um, it's like campaigning half the time. But regardless, they're also at times important. Hence, I share them. One of the trends I've picked up on is Commissioner McCarthy really, really, really lays it on thick in her praise of Mayor Hing. Now, I believe she really feels that way, and that's why she's doing that. But she lays it on really, really thick. She consistently has. I mean, that wasn't even that much. And I don't fault her for that, like, entirely, because I think she had his back when he needed someone to have his back. I mean, he was definitely under fire early on. I'm sure she knew that. Hence, she spoke up, and that's great. But I would say at this point, we know how you feel. You love him. You don't think he sleeps. You don't think he eats. He is the epitome of what a mayor should be. Um, I ad-libbed that part, but that's the energy that you've given with your public comments about the mayor. So we'll just see where it goes from here. I do have a video coming out because, like I said, I've noticed trends with closing comments, and there was a lot made of this meeting and the mayor's closing comments. Some people felt like it was a sermon. Some people brought up separation of church and state. I'm not touching either of those. That was not my take. Honestly, that stuff doesn't bother me that much, but I was raised by a preacher. So even though I'm spiritually lost, I'm okay with that kind of stuff. It really doesn't. I guess there's always the potential for a caveat, but that that's not what I took issue with. However, I do have a video coming out regarding some of Mayor Hing's closing comments, and yeah, as far as this one goes, what grade do you give this city commission thus far? I'm looking for feedback. So, 4 months they've been in office, or they've been together. I'd love to hear what you think. How are they doing? And having said that and brought you this, we'll catch you in the next one.